I wonder if he did have to go to a WBR.
I don't think it would have panned out.
I met a gypsy.
So going back to the racing, when you were racing, how far off Dunge were you?
Me and Ryan were close, and it was actually so we rode at my grandpa's house, and I'd be on my 125, and he'd be on his 80, and he'd kind of keep up a little bit, but I was always faster. And then when he got to the big bikes, is when something like switched, and he was good, but then he got confidence and he knew he wanted to do that, and that's when I was like fucking, and he started training, and I was just started going like this. So, but honestly, if you go to look back, my little brother Blaker,
Yeah.
we thought he was going to be he's the whole reason why we all had Suzuki rides and stuff was because of Blake.
That's right.
He was he was good. Like it just came natural, but then he's kind of like me, the work side. We just kind of ran on talent a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Ryan started working out and stuff. And then,
So was Ryan would you say, the least talented in the family?
yeah, I'd say me and him were close, but yeah, he had to make up for on the work side of things. Like it just didn't come naturally to him like it did me and Blaker. But then when it came to like make that next jump where you're like, you get on big bikes and you either make it or break it, that's when yeah.
Isn't it wild that the one with the least amount of talent was the one that is one of the best riders of all time?
And I think it was he got to watch me ride, and so he picked up on stuff. And then our little brother was even better because he watched both of us. So it was just, and the little one just, I feel like the sibling of the family just boom, boom, picks it up easier and just naturally just gifted. But yeah, dude. And you look back, like how he got to be a pro, like he did it with hard work, but like for Raj to take a chance on him like that, you got a little bit of luck too. You know, like most guys, if a guy came up to me right now on the semi, like, hey, let me ride your bike. And you didn't know who he was, like, hey, you get that? Like, come on, get out of here. So like the fact Raj took a chance on him is pretty.
Do you remember how that all came about?
Yeah. So Big E with Yoshimura.
Yeah.
He was our gear guy at the time, Answer. And that's how we became friends with him, and he kind of helped guide Ryan. So Ryan was actually supposed to be WBR Suzuki. They were gunning for him. He even did a test ride.
That would have been a disaster.
Yeah, well, we didn't know. Like, we had the Suzukis, but our bikes weren't modded, so we didn't have the problems like they had. And I remember him saying the day he went test rode the Suzuki at WBR, Sipes broke his wrist because the engine blew up. And he had a good test, everything was good, and he was like, and then Big E's like, don't sign anything. Let me talk to Raj, because I think it was either Hepler or Dave. It was maybe Davey was hurt, so he got him a test on Davey's bike because it was just sitting there. And then Raj, they kept going to the races. Raj, I want to ride for you. And then finally, like, God, shut up. Okay, let you ride. He went out road, and I think he crashed right off the get-go. Bike was just full of mud.
Yeah.
And then he went back out, and then they're like, dude, what are we doing? And then he went back out, and I think he was keeping close to Ricky at Glen Helen. And then that's basically how he got it. And then, yeah. And then he won he did those first 3 motocross races. And the first one, Millville was good. It was mutter, but he actually stopped and picked Josh Grant's bike up because they were buddies at the time. And he was stuck under his bike because it was a full mutter that year. And he picked Josh Grant. He would have done better. I think he got 5th or 6th, but he helped JG pick his bike up because it was landing on him. He's just like,
that's insane.
And then he still finished, but it was good. And then the next 2 were tough. And then he went out and won his first East Coast Supercross. And then the pressure came, and it was kind of like a roller coaster. But
I wonder with Dunge how it's not like, I'm not in no disrespect.
No,
but like just I've known him for so long now that I feel like I watched him through so many phases of his career and like kind of and knew him enough to be like, I would talk to him and whatever in those times, right? And I was like filming him and I was around. So it's like I know the roller coaster that he went through.
Yeah.
I wonder if he did have to go to a WBR privateer Suzuki team and they were having tons of black troubles and he didn't have Roger. Like, I
don't think it would have panned out.
Yeah, would it have panned out the way that it did?
I think he would have just been another guy through the ringer, and I just don't know. I mean, you don't know how the equipment was either, but
that's what I'm saying.
I think he would have just been chewed up and spit out real quick, like kind of a privateer. So, yeah, like I said, a lot of stuff lined up. Like I know he, a lot of was his work.
Well, I was gonna say he worked for it,
but he had a little luck on his side. Like,
well, and just to have I guess it's more the self-doubt that he went through.
Yeah.
Like I just know he went through so much personal self-doubt. And it's like he went through that with Roger DaCosta, with Factory Suzuki, with like this crazy, again, all hard work got him there, all of his own talent. Like he got himself there.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, if he went and just had a Suzuki blow up on an up ramp of a triple and like we might have just missed out on one of the best riders of all time just purely by like a left-right moment in time.
Yeah. Like I said, I think you look back at his career, like me outside looking in and kind of, you know, being involved. There was 2 times in his career that I think were tough was the J-Law.
Yeah.
That was mentally, you know, he was young and didn't know how to handle the pressure and that cracked him. And then after 2010, when he won that year, that next year was tough because now the pressure, you're the champ, you know, like I think it all came at him. So those were the 2 defining, I feel like, in his career. And then the first couple of years in KTM, they weren't hard, but it was tough. But then when he really like kind of set off was 15. That's when everything kind of really really clicked for him and just knocked off wins. And I mean, dude, he basically set the path to like just be a podium guy and you can win a championship. Like that's really kind of, he paved the way a little bit for that, or showed you don't have to win every single race to win a championship. So
yeah, isn't it funny that you have guys that come along and they influence how the sport goes?
Yep.
So you had Ricky. Well, yeah, I mean, I just don't think anyone could really top Jeremy. Like, I don't think anyone's ever followed that model. Like maybe Jett, but not even. Yeah. Not even. You know. So you had Ricky, and it was just hard work, beat the piss out of the track and the motorcycle and your competition, and then you had a lot of people tried to emulate that, and then that gave you Villapotos, and like that gave you so many like the Alessis and just gnarly dudes. Yep. And then you had James that was just this freak speed and talent. And then you start to see like, I'm thinking like Stroops, Izzy's, Canards, where it was just like speed, raw speed. Yep. And they influenced that generation. And then Dungey comes along. And then Dungey completely like revolutionizes the sport in his own way, to where it's like, now it ain't about winning every race and winning by huge margins. It's like Moneyball. Yep. Like you can win the championship playing Moneyball. You know, and Dungey was that guy. Yep. And then now you see, you know, like Eli has taken so much from Dungey. Yeah. Cooper Webb has taken so much
look
from
at Coop last year. Yeah. Like we won 7 races and the guy beat us by 2 points. You know, like you just got to be there and just limit your mistakes and just freaking take race by race. And like I said, we're getting heat right now online. People are blowing my Instagram. What the hell are you guys doing?
But that's the plan. Like you guys are still sticking to the plan.
Yeah. Like you guys sit back. I told Frankie, we're still got the red plate. You know, we're tied with the red plate, but we're still there. Like there's races to go. We just got to keep going. Like don't freak out. And
you know. And that's the playbook.
Yeah.
That Dungey wrote.
Yep.
And he just proved it over and over and over. And now you can't argue. No. And then I look at Jett. Bro, Jett's still taken from Dungey's playbook.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he's got the speed to do 1 minute plus victories.
He's like a once in a generation type what do you call it? Skill. Like just very naturally gifted, and it's
How much do you think Ryan influenced the way that KTM went in their power direction? Because I remember, so I had one day at the test track so I was working at JDR.
Oh yeah.
And Ryan was when Ryan started it at KTM. And so we'd be at the test track at the same time.
Yep.
But he would be the only one that would be allowed to ride in the 20. Like he would do his 20 by himself.
Yep.
And then after that, all the JDR boys would get on the track. So I just get to sit and watch him. And I got so many just sick shots like filming him. But there was one day he did a 20 and you could have a conversation with someone next to you because of how quiet his bike was.
Yeah.
And then so I stood and watched him. And I went up to him after the moto. I'm like, how many times a lap do you use the brakes? And he said there was two corners on the track where he actually touched his brakes. Land, roll, what? Just so wild.
That's why he was so, like, people say, you know, they kind of give him shit for being like having a tape measure up his butt because he's so finicky on sag. But that rear had to be so dialed because he gets in and he just likes to roll on the throttle. And as soon as that thing sinks, he doesn't like that. So you gotta have it up and just so he could roll it because he was his roll speed was, especially when I got hard packed, like that's when it was like, all right, you know, you got to a hard pack track, it's it's on because he was so gifted. Like even that Suzuki 250F, that thing was nowhere probably near close to a pro circuit bike, but he made up for it with this roll speed. And sometimes a slower bike's faster in those type of conditions. So but also to our people always say like, dude, your bike's so quiet even back then. The Kropovich, dude.
They're so good.
It's like the quality, like not to crap on all the other brands, like, you know, because they're all, you know, everybody's good, but like, dude, I'll go on a factory system. I'll go like 4 or 5 races on a whole system, and I just change it because of cosmetic most of the time. But
yeah,
dude, you hear other teams, they're throwing new silencers at it every moto, and dude, we go 30 hours, but it's just the quality. It's just it's very high. It's very, you know, a lot of people can't afford it. Like that's why you kind of the other brands make it specifically for your, you know, normal like me and you, because we, you know, we want to be cost effective, but the quality and just, dude, it's sick.
Unreal.
Yeah.
So Kiefer told me that I had to get one for my Yamaha. So I got one on my Yamaha. I love that exhaust. I love how it sounds. Mm-hmm. I love the way that it makes power. I love the way that it looks. Dude, that's
sick.
100% agree. I've never had one on a KTM, but man, I remember back in the day, so Australia was a really great country for KTM.
Yep.
So you know Leesky, Jeff Leesk?
I never met him, but I heard him before, yep.
So he was the CEO of KTM Australia.
Yep.
So KTM, dude, before it was good in the US.
Because JDR, you guys originally
started.
I remember that.
So, dude, from when I was a kid, so you know Todd Waters?
Never. I've met him a couple times, but yeah, I know.
So he grew up with us.
Yep.
And so he was a factory KTM kid.
Yep.
This is probably like 03, 04, you know, like, so he was KTM junior, him, Ty Simmons. So we were around a bunch of the factory KTM kids, and they always had the Acros, and they just always sounded so insanely good. And I mean, they make great exhaust for street bikes. They, you know, it's
pretty much all MotoGP is those guys. And nowadays I think it's all computer. Like everybody like uses like flow stuff, and now it's like the computer does a lot of stuff. And like, dude, when they give you something like,
it's good.
It's good. And you're paying more, but dude, that thing's gonna last. Especially a customer, it's gonna last you forever.
Yeah, well, I've got my 25. I haven't got my 26 Yamaha yet, but it'll just go straight on there.
Oh, bolt straight up and
yeah. You just finished watching a clip from the full 3-hour podcast. You're on our Clips channel. The full podcast live on the Gypsy Tales podcast channel. It's linked right here. Go over to that channel, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and make sure you never miss a full episode of the Gypsy Tales podcast. If you don't want to watch it on YouTube, you want to watch it on the go, you can also head to our iTunes or Spotify to get the full 3-hour podcast in audio format.
I met a gypsy.